Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
We can, but I'd love to get that group back and go down there again. Damn, I didn't care what it costs. It's just I love that course. I do. I love that course. Don't you like it?
Yeah. So maybe we should take a timeout.
Yeah, let's take a timeout.
I'm going to take a timeout. Dylan, are you there?
Let your guy figure this out.
Can y'all hear me now? Okay, he says we're good now. All right, so JC's back.
Here we are.
JC's back. JC, I got a couple things I want to bring up.
Okay.
So first of all, I had multiple people because this text line goes into my cell phone. And so people overnight, and there was multiple people, so I don't know exactly who it was.
Okay.
They said that I said, and I don't know if you were on this show or one of the other shows, that I said Graham Mertz had the best arm of any Gator quarterback ever. Did you ever hear me say that?
No, I did not hear you say that.
Okay. So that's the problem with podcast and sports talk radio. People don't listen and listen correctly. So these people apparently called Cardozo's show and said that I said that Graham Mertz had a better arm than the three statues. I did say that.
Well, that is true. But
right. So what they don't understand is because he always talking about the deep ball. He can throw the ball perfect. I said he has a stronger arm than me. Werfel, Spurrier, Tebow.
Yes.
I mean, we could put other ones in there. So people need to get their facts and listen correctly to the program.
That is. There's two guys you and I both know that had a stronger. Actually, there's three. I could put Doug in there, but
Doug had a strong arm. Rex had a strong arm. But Graham has plenty of arm strength. I just don't. Anyway, I just had to get that out there because I got at least 6 texts of people saying that somebody called into their show and said that I said that he had the strongest arm of any Gator quarterback. Never said that.
You're misquoted. You're misquoted.
Yes, but it is a fact. It is a fact that he has a stronger arm than myself or any of those 3 guys with the statues out there.
I even know you were misquoted. I didn't even hear it, but I
wasn't misquoted. I was not listening to Jeff and Dooley, but the person said they listened to this show and called and told them that's what I said, and that's that's incorrect.
I will corroborate that is not the case.
Yeah.
So anybody cares.
Anyway, we got
never
that
would
taken care of.
You would never.
Here's another very cool story. Very cool story about the Gator golf team. I don't know if people heard this. So the Gator golf team, the five guys that have qualified, are getting to play Augusta National Golf Club today.
Awesome.
And they are the guest, obviously, of Fred Ridley, who's the chairman of Augusta National.
Gator.
But this is the cool part of the story. Ian Gilligan, a transfer from Long Beach State, was diagnosed with lymphoma 5 years ago. And as a Make-A-Wish kid, he dreamed of playing the famed course Augusta National. Well, Matthew Kress, who was part of the national championship team last year, who's probably our number 1 player right now, I would guess, because most of the guys graduated. He surprised Ian Gilligan Wednesday night at a team meeting by giving up his spot.
Oh, man.
And is letting him go play Augusta National.
Well, 3 cheers for Matt. Well, 3 cheers for Matt Kress. I hope somebody had a camera so we can see the reaction to that. I love these Make-A-Wish stories. I can watch these all the time. But that is a great gesture by Matthew Kress. And karma's going to come around and be good to him at some point. Maybe he'll make a winning putt for a back-to-back NCAA championship for the Gators. Who knows? But that's a great thing that he did. Congratulations.
Yeah, that is. Gator MF on YouTube says you're still incorrect, though. Mertz can't throw a deep ball. Gator, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. You're obviously clueless. Okay. He throws the deep ball fine. The problem is you have to throw the ball deep to be able to complete deep passes.
That's been your theme all week. I've heard you say 4 times. The deep ball is the safest pass you can throw.
Safest pass in football.
There are 3 very good outcomes. So
yes.
There are 3 tolerable outcomes. Okay.
Yeah.
One's very good.
Yeah, the Pro Football Hall of Fame guys were announced last night. Unfortunately, Fred Taylor did not make it. I do not understand it.
Hard to believe.
Steve McMichael, who was my rookie year, I was on the team with him, and obviously he's been battling ALS, and he goes in. Patrick Willis from Ole Miss, played with the 49ers, was one of the SEC legends when I was up there. Awesome guy. He went in. Devin Hester Devin Hester's a great returner, but there's no way Devin Hester should go in the Pro Football Hall of Fame before Fred Taylor.
No. No chance. I couldn't tell you the difference between Devin Hester and Peter Warwick, but I'll tell you that Fred Taylor, everybody knows he was the best running back Florida's had.
He's the best Florida running back we've ever had at this school. People say Emmett. I disagree. My teammate's the all-time leading rusher, and Fred Taylor's the best tailback we've ever had here. And he was damn good for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's like 11th on the all-time rushing list.
Well, I don't think either one of those two guys you just mentioned, Rhett or Emmett, could combine speed with power like Fred Taylor.
No, nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody.
No doubt. And durability. Durability is huge as a running back. My God. So
yeah, but if you had put Fred Taylor, what he did as a pro football player on Green Bay, Pittsburgh, Dallas, Chicago, any of the major markets that had historical franchise, he would already be in.
I agree with that. 100%. 100%. I mean, and if he had Dallas's offensive line, he might have more yards than Emmitt Smith too. I mean, Dallas had the best offensive line I think I've ever seen in the history of football when Emmitt Smith ran probably middle of his career. And I'm not taking anything away from Emmitt. He is great. But those lines, dude, those guys that were blocking for Emmitt were Hall of Famers. They're all good. Dallas was great. And Troy Aikman throwing the pitch to Irvin and Harper. My God, what a team. So, yeah.
Radware's a family-owned business that prides itself in excellent customer service while providing quality and affordable promotional products and customized apparel. We got JC on the Tate Tomorrow hotline. We're going to have Scott Card a little bit later. Super Bowl, 49ers, and the Chiefs. Still very, very high ticket price to get into this ball game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, majority of the people that go to this are all corporate people that don't give a damn about either team or even know about football.
Right.
For the most part.
And players, families, and so forth. And players.
Well, those people care.
They care, but they get to go. And, you know, I was reading where Travis Kelce's mother is going to have to sit in the general stands because of how expensive, and this I didn't understand, how expensive the suites were. Well, Taylor Swift could buy every damn suite in the building, and it wouldn't matter. But they're in the millions for a suite. So Christian McCaffrey basically told his girlfriend, Olivia, no, you're not going to buy my mom a suite for that cost. You got to sit in the grandstand with the fans. And he had to put the nix on that. Some of these prop bets that everybody talks about, and I'm not talking about the goofy ones, but the ones that actually have a part in the game. The one I really love is Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel over 57 yards receiving. I think Brock Purdy is going to have a big game here, and I think the 49ers are going to win. So I would look at that. I would also look at rushing yards. I would look at anytime touchdowns for all of these guys on the 49ers who are healthy and who I think will be very successful in this game. I think they beat the Chiefs. I almost think they might beat the Chiefs by more than a touchdown. And I think Pacheco will not rush. So if I looked at Isaiah Pacheco's rushing yards on a prop bet at I'll tell you what it is here in a minute. But if I looked at his rushing yards, I would bet the under. I think the 49ers are going to shut down their running game, and Patrick Mahomes is going to run. Okay, so Pacheco's rushing yards is 68.5 yards. I would be willing to go under that against that defense.
Let me ask you, I'm with you, JC, because I've been preaching the 49ers defense all year, but the damn Lions did what they wanted to do.
True. You're right. They did.
Okay.
But I think
so. What makes you think that the damn one of the best play callers in all of football, who has the best player in all of football, they ain't going to move the football on?
Well, because I think the Ravens showed San Francisco what you do to keep the Chiefs in check. They only scored 17 points, and they were not that great in the second half. And I think adjustments were made. And you've got a defense, to me, in San Francisco's with superior front seven play. Just really good front seven play. And that's where Baltimore is strong too, as well as in the back end. But I think you can get the Chiefs. I think you can get them with some really solid defense. But if Mahomes does what we all know he can do, I might be very wrong about this. But I'm going to
I still think the Chiefs are going to win because I just think Andy Reid is that good. I think Spagnuolo. This is probably the worst offense the Chiefs have had under Pat Mahomes. But it's the best defense they've had.
Very good point, and I agree with that. But I also believe in Kyle Shanahan. You give that guy 2 weeks, 2 weeks, not one. You give him 2 weeks. He's going to figure out how to get the ball in the end zone. QB, they have McCaffrey, Samuel, Kittle, Ayuk. They are all healthy. Purdy is healthy. The offensive line is healthy. Trent Williams is going to be blocking in pass protection. They're going to have plenty of guys blocking to protect Purdy in the backfield. I just think that the Niners, I've always said, I think they were the best team in football until they got hammered by Baltimore. So,
Gene on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melon Law, says, can I get some action on the KC running back prop with JC?
Pacheco? Yeah, 60. It's, well, Gene, you know that you can go on this little thing right here and get your own action. So go ahead and get your own action and bet as much as you want, because I've got plenty of action. Thank you very much. And I'm saying take the under on Isaiah Pacheco. I believe.
And John says on YouTube, didn't the Ravens beat the 49ers?
Well, I just said it. They killed the 49ers. But that's one game in the NFL, QB. You know,
no, I know. I'm just repeating what the customers are saying.
Well, the customers are right. They did. But what are the Ravens doing today? And how did the Ravens play when the money was on the table like they always do in the playoffs? Offensively, that is.
Well, the Chiefs played really good defense. You can look at it that point of view.
You can. But, you know, I've seen the Chiefs lose too. I've seen them lose this year. They lost the Colts. So there you go. So anything can happen. It's NFL, but I got to pick a side, QB, and I'm going to go. And I don't blame you for taking Kansas City. I think, you know, but I've seen them get beat. Tampa Bay killed them. And, you know, I think the Niners, this is their year. I'm just going to, be wrong.
I'm a huge Kyle Shanahan. I like both these head coaches. I think they're excellent. I think the Chiefs are getting ready to make a run, very similar to the Patriots. So we shall see. 1966 HBC beers available at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, Gator Games in the O-Dome, and select retail outlets. Chris American Lager, 1966 HBC beer. We'll talk with Scott Carter about the Auburn game. I think the Gators are going to beat the Auburn Tigers.
So you say that because of home court, but
okay.
What's the other reason?
Auburn does not play great on the road. They're a very physical team that can give us some problems, but they are not a great scoring basketball team. And Florida could score. We're going to be at home. We're rested. I think Florida wins the game.
Good. I mean, all signs point to that.
This has nothing to do with being a homer or any of that. I'm just going by what happens in college basketball.
Yeah, well,
everybody talks about, if you look at all these top-ranked teams that go on the road and they're playing a team, and you look at it and you say, man, they're going to kill them. You wake up the next morning and what happened?
No, they lose. But I don't see anybody killing anybody. I will say I found it quite odd that in the Alabama game the other night, Auburn had 50 free throw attempts. What is that? How is that possible?
Home court.
Home court at 50 free throw?
Yeah, well, I mean, the SEC officials were leaning towards George Pearl.
Ha! George Pearl.
Who is George Pearl?
George Perlis was the Michigan State football coach.
No, I didn't say George Perlis. Maybe that's who I'm thinking of.
That probably is, because I don't know George Pearl, but Bruce Pearl.
George Bruce, he's the same guy. Hey, let me ask you this, JC. You know when the last time the mighty Auburn Tigers won a game in the O'Connell Center?
No, I don't know.
Try 1996.
Wow. Now, did they always play the Gators? I mean, did they play them every year?
They've played here multiple times as like highly ranked teams, and that's the last time they won a game.
It's going to be a highly entertaining game. Very athletic teams on the court. I mean, you're going to see guys running up and down the court. Watch that kid Broom for Auburn. Also watch their guard play. You're going to see athletes all over the place. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, Andy says Broom was almost a Gator. Would be nice to have him. He's a very physical player.
Yeah, you would love to have him. Yeah, but George Pearl is a very good recruiter, and as long as George is, they're always going to be in the game. George really had a lot of success against Billy Donovan. People don't remember that, but he always beat Billy. When he was at Tennessee, but.
George Pearl. Why did I think of that? It's hilarious.
Well, it's a good game. It's going to be entertaining as hell. I agree with you on the aspect of having 6 days off means a lot to these kids. It's going to help them coming off that road stretch. But Florida's positioned themselves with that big win against Kentucky. They've got a tier 1 win now. This would be another one. And I think at home, I wouldn't be shocked if they won.
Yeah. Justin on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, JC talking about Pacheco like the offense runs through him. You got to stop Mahomes and Kelsey to stop the Chiefs.
No, it's true. But when Kansas City can run the football, they're not going to lose. And if you've watched the playoff games, if you've looked at how many times he's touched the ball in these last 2 playoff games, Andy Reid will run the ball. And if he can, he will. But Thuney is not playing. He's one of their all-pro linemen. And I think San Francisco on their front 7 is as good as Baltimore. And Kansas City, they're not running up and down the field on Baltimore. They did not. So just look at the playoff games. That's all I'm saying.
Greg says George Pearl is an American composer.
Wow, QB, you're listening to music these days.
Yes, well, I do. I listen to one.
The Boston Pops.
Yeah. George Pearl. Why in the hell did I say that?
Well, it's just you knew who you were talking about. I knew.
Yeah.
But it made me laugh. But there is a guy.
Made me laugh too.
There's a coach from Michigan
George
State.
Pearless. I remember him.
Yes. But Bruce Pearl certainly has been very successful. Auburn has changed their entire basketball culture under Bruce Pearl. Whether you like Auburn or don't like Auburn, their basketball.
Well, a lot of people say their home court is the best in all of college basketball right now.
And they built that little building there. They got out of that Joel Eves Coliseum or whatever it was, which was just an old, dumpy arena and half full, not a fun place to watch a game. And they created an atmosphere type Coliseum for the kids to go to and for the fans who love basketball. And Auburn is a basketball school. They are. I mean, they went to the Final Four just recently. So I'll tell you, Auburn is more of a basketball school than a football school if you look at results on the court and on the field.
Well, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Now, Auburn is a football, that's their thing. But right now, it's basketball for Auburn. And they're not bad at baseball either. I think they're playing good baseball.
Well, Connor Stallions, who watches our program, you know who that is, JC?
Yeah, he was watching Central Michigan.
So he's watching our program to steal signals to let people know. But Connor Stallions on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says every team's hat that JC has worn this postseason has lost that week.
That's not true, Connor. Is it really?
It might be true.
Well, the video doesn't lie. Whatever that says.
Now we'd have to go back and do some research.
Yeah.
Speaking of going back, we go back to our Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's #1 choice for dentistry, Port Charlotte surrounding areas. Our Peachland Dental picks for golf at the Waste Management Open. They're suspended because of darkness. One round.
You're all over this.
One of my guys, Thagala, the Pepperdine Wave, is leading the tournament. How about that?
Okay, 1 round's in the books. You're right. We'll see how he does. I like the guy. I think Thagala I've picked him before too. I think he's great. I really do like him. Hope I wouldn't mind seeing him win. So
yeah, you have Harris English, Gary Woodland.
He's okay. Gary Woodland's
Daniel Berger. And I wrote down here's a new guy for you. Scotty Schefter. I wrote down.
Schefter, yeah. Schefter. I think Schefter and English are -1 and even respectively, and Thagala is -6. So they're all there. But
yeah, I got Ben on, JT Poston, Thagala, and Adam Haddon. I don't know how the other guys did.
No, Adam Haddon. My boy Woodland is DOL. He's dead last +8.
He'll withdraw.
He'll withdraw.
He's coming off. He's coming off like a neck surgery, I think.
Yeah. He's not ready to go. I should have known that. He's not ready to go. I should have known that.
Stacy says Auburn was always my favorite away game for football and basketball. Great campus.
Great campus, but their basketball arena in the day was just not anything to get excited. That's why they built another one. If they loved it so much, they never would have had to build another one. They built another one. It's a real home court event. They're right on top of you. It's about 9,000 seats. It's a modernized Cameron Indoor type stadium place, and it's very nice. And they win, man. I mean, they're a good team. I wasn't surprised that they beat Alabama the other night at home. But I was surprised that they got to shoot the free throws 50 times. I mean, 40 out of 50.
That's a lot.
You can't beat that. You can't beat that. That's not going to be. That's not beatable. But
Gator softball cranks up their season today down in Tampa. Play 5 games down there this weekend. And then Gator baseball cranks up next Friday against St. John's. We'll have Kevin O'Sullivan on. I don't know exactly which day. He's supposed to let me know later today. Gene asked, QB, how was the business trip the other day? Did JC attend?
Yeah.
JC showed up.
JC showed up. JC wants to go back too. I love that. I thought that venue that they have, and I've got to say this because I said I would say this, but Patrick Jenkins and the boys down there at the Adena Golf Club, right off 326, it's about a half an hour south on I-75, have worked so hard over the last 12 months to get this place playable and to get it presentable, and it is both. And if you get a chance, if you only get an opportunity, because I think it's invite only right now, but if you do get the opportunity, take it and go. And I'm very glad the QB talked me into going. And I felt a certain amount of peer pressure to go, and I went. And I was glad as hell that I did. But it's a full day. I mean, if you play 18 holes and you go down there and warm up for an hour beforehand and you stay for about a half an hour to an hour afterwards and you drive back and forth, it's an 8-hour day.
So it was. I was exhausted. It was well worth it. And yes, Adena Golf Club.
Good for those
guys.
Get
a chance, go. And
we
want to thank Patrick for having us down there.
Yes,
it was. It was so difficult because the wind was howling and off those cliffs. But what I was telling a buddy of mine, he was asking me what kind of shape it was in. I said it was phenomenal shape. I said the fairways were so tight that I would try to pick up some blades of grass to figure out which way the wind was blowing. I couldn't. It was so tight I couldn't pick grass.
Well, it's February. It's that time of year, QB. But I'll tell you, it looks miraculous. It looks impressive, and you were able to pick some of your pitches off that grass. You didn't scull anything. I think I sculled one. You did not scull any balls. And usually off these tight lies you can spin it, right?
Yeah, but couldn't spin it.
But it was tough. Listen, the par threes that we played on that course that day, folks, think about this. You've got elevation, high tee box, lower green, over a quarry, playing, 220 yards with a left to right or right to left wind.
Well, the one par three was 238.
238 from where you were teeing off, about 215 from where I tee off, 220. And then the other par three on the back nine, right, number 8, I believe it was, that I hit one into the quarry. That was downhill, and it was still playing.
That one was like 220. Yeah, it was a bear. It was fun for sure.
But it was damn fun. It's a beautiful place. Great property.
Clint's question here on Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law, but it's actually on YouTube brought to you by Quality Plumbing. I'm gonna let JC answer this, then I will. It says, who do you think has the better arm of any Gator QB, Grossman or Cresser?
I mean, I'm going to stay with number 8 because the way he throws the ball and threw the ball, but Cresser had a great arm. I don't know how you can. Doug Johnson had a great arm.
Those two, I would say out of the Spurrier era quarterbacks,
Grossman. I'm saying Grossman.
I would put those two as the best 2 throwers of the football with the best arms. Doug would be third, probably.
Doug. Doug was
Grossman. Cresser would be 1A and 1B.
Yeah, it would. It would. And I think Grossman in Spurrier's last game in the Orange Bowl may have had the best game in his Gator career against Maryland that night. They scored 50 on him and just did whatever they wanted to. He had, all the physical tools and talent that you could ask for.
Well, I'll never forget when I was at the spring game.
Yeah.
Was it spring game? Or maybe it was a practice. Coach had me come out there. I can't remember what year I would have been in the league, but it was in the off season. So I'm sitting in the the south end zone in the shade, and I'm just watching from the end zone. And after practice, it may have been a scrimmage. It's like, well, what'd you think? And it had to have been Rex, maybe Brock Berlin, Jesse. I don't know who all the quarterbacks were on that team.
Yeah.
And I said, Coach, number 8 does things you can't teach.
That's right. Yeah.
He needs to be your quarterback.
Yeah.
And it was Rex because, he just had – there's some guys that just have a knack of how to play the position. Doesn't matter if JC's coaching them or Steve Spurrier's coaching them. They have a knack of how to play the position, and he did. He was damn good.
That's a Matt Stafford type of ability, and Matt Stafford never beat Tebow, but Matt Stafford was a better quarterback, and is, and I think a Hall of Famer as well, by the way. And you've got guys like that just have. There's another one that comes to mind that's off the tip of my tongue that reminds me of that kind of quarterback that can just do anything with the arm. Damn. Well, Aaron Rodgers is one, but it escapes me. Damn it. But yeah. Rex was just tremendous throwing ball. Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Sometimes he got in trouble with that. Sometimes he did, but I mean, all do. So.
Yeah, Michael says on YouTube, Chris Leak threw the very best ball by far. Not the best arm, but the best ball. Beautiful spiral throw after throw. Yeah, he's your all-time leading passer.
But so did Danny. Danny threw balls that were somewhat unteachable too. Now, granted, he had Hilliard and Riedel. We could talk about this for hours, but Danny Werfel, folks, there's a reason why he's got the stature. I mean, you once said that you thought before these other guys that he was the best that ever played here, Danny Werfel.
Oh, I think he's the best quarterback. Okay. If I were ranking the quarterbacks that played here.
Do your Mount Rushmore.
Well, I'm going to do it real quick. I would go Danny, then I would go Rex, and then I would go Tebow.
Okay. Yeah, Tebow won. I mean, he was a winner in every sense of the word, and that counts. That absolutely counts at that position.
But I think the other two were better
passers.
Well, they were. Well, there's multiple guys that are better passers than Tebow. Tebow was just a damn good football player.
Yeah.
But I think Danny, and then I would go Rex, and then Tebow.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't argue with it. Yeah. Sounds good. All
right. We're waiting on Scott Carter here.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. But, it's going to be a great game Sunday. It's going to be a great weekend. You got basketball with Auburn. You got the Super Bowl on Sunday night. It's one of those games where if you do choose to partake in wagering, the one thing that I've always seen that works is the total in the third quarter. The total number of points usually hovers around 9.5 in the third quarter. And a lot of times the team that's behind has a sense of urgency, and they generally, a lot of times, they score in the third quarter. And now we've got the two best teams in the pro football plan. I like the total number of points if it's under, say, 13 in the third quarter. Think about that one too. Okay. You can get all this stuff on the Hard Rock sports betting app. Totally legal. All of it.
Greg says, why didn't Kresser have success? Well, he played behind Werfel. He set the all-time leading passing record for one game at Florida when Coach just started him. And then him and Danny were the same age. So he transferred. He was very successful. He went to Marshall, won a national championship.
You know who he
and
threw
then played
to,
about
right?
7 years in the National Football League.
And he threw to a Hall of Famer. I mean, Randy Moss had a lot of success because of the guy throwing him the ball who got it to him out there, running the 4.3 that he ran. So I mean that long ball didn't hurt Marshall, did it?
Yes. So Kresser was very, very successful, and he's a very successful high school coach and trains quarterbacks. Charles says on YouTube, Shane, does the new special teams analyst report to the special teams analyst that had the issues last year? I will ask Scott that. If Scott may be sleeping.
There's a lot of conversation.
He texted me last night that he was coming on. So
never in my life have I heard so much conversation about assistants and assistant coaches and staffs and who does what job, on the coaching staff. I've never. And I don't know why that is. Is it because they don't trust the head guy, or is it because it's just interesting to talk about? I find it to be incredibly boring to talk about assistant football coaches. Not that there's anything wrong with assistant football coaches, but this has got to be the only show where I think we've spent literally hours talking about freaking assistant football coaches. Just making that observation.
I agree.
I guess that's what people want to talk about, and that's great. They're not going to win you the game, though. And to me, it's the guys on the field running and jumping and catching and blocking and tackling. And tackling, folks, tackling was the biggest problem on this football team last year, and it has to get better, or we're not going to see very different results this year. If they don't play better defense, I don't care. You could bring Buddy Ryan back from the dead. If those kids don't respond, if they don't tackle, if they don't use technique, if they're not coached right, this team doesn't win. You got to tackle that.
I will tell you this, JC. Do you want to know who's calling the plays next year?
Oh, sure. Go ahead. Who's calling
Coach
the plays?
Napier's calling the plays.
Oh.
John wants to know, were you with the Bears when Rex was there? No, I only had about two. No, I was gone. I was, let's see, Rex came out in what, 2001-ish?
Yeah.
And I only had about 4 or 5 more years left in the league. I don't know where I was, but no, we were
You're
not
probably
in the
Buffalo. You're probably either Buffalo.
I think you're right. Buffalo, probably.
Yeah, Buffalo or Cincinnati. I remember. It was Buffalo because you went to Cincinnati after Buffalo. But, man, boy, we really do focus a lot on these assistant coaches.
But Brian's inviting us to Michigan to play Arcadia Bluffs.
Oh, I've done it. That is their version of Whistling Straits. It is fabulous. In the summertime, they have about 200 tee times in the summertime during the course of the day. It's incredible because the day goes forever. He is so right. I've played that course. You can get a property on the course. There's 2 courses. There's a smaller course and a big course. The big course there on the cliffs of Michigan. It is about an hour southwest of Traverse City. That's where you want to go, Traverse City, and drive down to Arcadia Bluffs. It is it's probably the best place I've ever played. I'm not exaggerating. I only played it one time. John Darr was with us, junior. And you have to get a caddy because there's a lot of blind shots. There's no trees really to worry about. It's amazing. It's amazing. He is so right. Thank you for that. That is so true. Arcadia Bluffs. I got a pullover in that closet there. Golf is great.
Yeah, Greg says here, Danny had a very accurate deep ball, unlike Mertz. Look, Danny probably threw 10 to 12 deep balls a game, whereas, like I told you, look, Mertz threw some deep balls to Ricky Pearsall this year. He didn't hit many, but you got to call them. And I promise you, if you call 7 to 8 of them and you hit 2 of them, that changes the game.
It's a big play, man, and it does. It could lead to 14 points. And literally, remember, Danny had 2 of the best wide receivers we'll ever have here playing with him. And I'm not saying that's Danny's fault. Good for him. But Graham Mertz has done what he was asked to do, and certainly I think surprised most people except you. And I got to hand it to him. He's going to be your starter next year. He's going to do fine, and they've got some help around him. Hopefully, the offensive line will get better, and we'll see.
Andy's.
He was running for his life a lot, QB. You have to admit.
I thought he played outstanding football.
They didn't guard him, and the ball carrying that he did in that Missouri game, especially on the play he got hurt, just shows you how tough the guy is, and how much he wants to win, and how hard he wants to play for Florida. And again, offense kept them, and offense was the reason why they should have beat Missouri. Offense was the reason why they did beat South Carolina. And offense was the reason why they embarrassed Tennessee. Just think about that, folks.
And offense was the reason they would have beaten Arkansas if we wouldn't have made it debacle at the end.
They did their job, got the ball downfield, and completely did exactly what they had to do. Remember, Arkansas was up 14-0 before I even sat down. So you're asking an offense to come in there down 2 touchdowns in an SEC game? I don't know. He did a great job.
Andy's question was, did I have any good Steve McMichael stories since I was a rookie his last year with the Bears? Richard Dent, the Fridge, those guys were all on that team my rookie year. They didn't really mess with me because I was a rookie free agent.
Yeah, they didn't.
That made the roster. They usually mess with the guys with the draft picks. So, no, but they were crazy. I'm telling you, I'll never forget my first preseason game. I didn't even play in it, but I can't remember where we were playing. Come in at halftime. So you got all these dudes there's still like multiple, probably six guys from the Super Bowl shuffle team, right? Everybody goes to take a leak, at halftime, because NFL is 12 minutes. It is fast.
Yeah.
There are dudes in there smoking cigarettes. I'm a rookie. I'm going, what? I'm thinking to myself, what are these dudes doing?
That was a different world, man.
I know.
But I actually met Steve McMichael last summer at White Eagle Golf Course in Naperville, Illinois, playing a charity event, and he looked okay. But I know he's
no. You didn't meet Steve McMichael.
I didn't.
JC, he's been in a hospital bed for
you're right.
7 years.
It was the other lineman. I met him, but of course I was having a few beers. You sure it wasn't Steve McMichael?
Steve McMichael has been barely on life support for probably 6 or 7 years.
Then I am mistaken. I apologize.
All right. So Scott Carter just texted. He said take his kids to school and forgot. So he's calling in now. So JC,
okay,
we're going to take a timeout and get Scott. One last time. You're taking the 49ers to win the Super Bowl.
Straight up with the spread. And damn it, I'm going to remember who I met in Naperville for Monday. But yes, 49ers on Sunday, Brooks, and the Gators over Auburn by 6.
All right, that's JC joining us on the Tight Number Hotline. Take a quick timeout. Come back. We'll be joined by Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning. We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Campus USA, put some star power to work in your financial life with Campus USA Credit Union. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, watch. Duffield Home Improvements for your window, siding, and roofing needs. Radware, your local provider of promotional products, uniforms, and apparel. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Radware, F45, Quality Plumbing. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
The big takeaway for me, Shane, I mean, let's just talk about the obvious. I mean, we all know this is a critical year for Billy Napier and the Florida football program. And I think he made some changes that were necessary. Are they going to be enough? I don't know. I feel like in so many ways things are kind of stacked against the Gators right now with that schedule. But if they can somehow surprise us, win 8, 9 games, he'll be SEC Coach of the Year. So we'll see how it all plays out. We've all seen this scenario before at Florida and at schools every year. I mean, he's one of those guys that it's a make or break year, I think, in a lot of ways. And will all the changes be enough? Will the right pieces fit? We'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I think there's a lot of good being done behind the scenes with the players and the experience they're getting and their resources. But we all know you got to win, Shane.
Yep, there's no question about that. It's a big year for the Gators. We know it's not going to be easy, but look, here's what's funny to me. You know, the schedule is extremely difficult. We all know that. But how many times have the fans in the past bitched and complained about not having a good schedule?
This is one of those years where Tennessee, Chattanooga, and Marshall might be good to see. But I mean, I love this schedule this year. I would love to see it every year. This kind of schedule. And I think in time we'll see this schedule being a regular thing. It's just like I said. It's just unfortunate timing for Billy Napier where he is at Florida that they have to go through that schedule because it is a monster.
Yeah, and I mean anything can happen. You got to play the game, and Gators could surprise some people. So who knows? Scott, I want to switch gears to baseball. I'm going to have Sully on next week, but you know I think in one of the rankings they came out as a preseason number 2 behind Wake Forest. We know week in and week out in SEC baseball, it's a slugfest. Have you seen any practices? What do you make of this team so far?
You know, I've gone out a couple of times. I like what I've seen. I think it's a team that, you know, obviously Jack Caglione's the centerpiece. He's being talked about as National Player of the Year, one of the most unique talents, if not the most unique talent in Florida Gators baseball history because of what he can do pitching and hitting. I mean, you know, 30-some home runs last year. It'll be fascinating to see how he develops if he continues into this role in his pro career. But if he has the kind of season that a lot of people project, he'll be the number 1 pick in next June's draft. So anytime you have a player like that, you can build around, Shane. That's a great start. But it's always been about depth and pitching for Sully's teams. And, you know, a guy that has everyone excited, this freshman pitcher who's going to be their Saturday guy, Liam Peterson. This guy, he's kind of in that mold of Alex Fado, Brady Singer, some of the best ones that Sullivan's had. So you mix him in there with, you know, Cade Fisher and Caglione, Brandon Nilly, and you've got a pretty impressive start of your rotation there. So to me, it's just a typical Sully team. One thing he does year in, year out, he has high-end talent, and they generally compete for the SEC title. And, you know, can they get back to Omaha this year? I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility at all. So I do think Gator fans will have something to latch onto this spring with this baseball team because I do expect them to be pretty good.
Kind of jumping ahead, do you like? I want to say they changed the SEC tournament, which I think they needed to. It was the format to me was stupid. Now it's just one and done, and you go home, right?
Yeah, which I don't mind that. I mean, it's a long week, man, for those people up there. And, you know, you often go up there, it seems like winning is not that important for some schools
right?
Because they know to do it, it's going to take something out of you maybe for the postseason. So I think that's a smart move. You know, go up. If you get hot and win it, that's great. But, you know, if you lose, you can get back home and start preparing for the postseason because most of those teams at the SEC tournament, they're headed to the NCAA tournament. That's how good the SEC is. So I like the move personally.
Yeah. Tim says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mello, with this schedule every year will be the new vein. Tim, I'm going to challenge you with this right here. And you and others, live your life with some positivity. Quit being so negative. You know, as an athlete, you don't look at your schedule upcoming and go, we're going to lose every game. You go into it with a plan and try to win every game possible. And a lot of times teams surprise people. I'm not saying the Gators are going to win the SEC or whatever, but just enjoy. There's nothing you can do about it. just the negativity is overwhelming. And I just think it's ridiculous, quite honestly.
Yeah.
So that's my Dr. Phil for today.
Sure.
Scott,
I get it. I hear a lot of that too, man. It does beat you down at times.
Yeah, I mean, look, support the kids that are on the team. They're going to go out there and try to win the damn football game. And if they do win the football game, I don't want these people texting on here talking about what a great win it was. Either jump on board or find another team. That's all I can say. That's as an athlete, you look at your schedule and you try to win every freaking game. And you don't sit here in the off season going, "Oh, we're going to lose that one. We might as well not even get on the plane to go there." Look, crazy things can happen. So, all right, before we get you out of here, Scott, gymnastics. It's kind of a weird year for Jenny Rowland because some of her top players, athletes, gymnasts, I always call them players, aren't participating because they're getting ready for the Olympics. So it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's if they had Kayla Dacella, who is taking that gap year for the Olympics, I think it's a different team. Obviously, it's still a very talented team with Leanne Wong, and I like some of these freshmen that they've added. Anya Pilgrim is very impressive. I think she's a future star. I think this team will get better, and they'll be in the hunt late. I don't know if they've got national championship potential without Dacella, but I do think it's a good team. But yeah, it's one of those things where I get it. I mean, if I'm Kayla Dacella and you're at that peak of your career and the Olympics are here this year, I want to make a run at it too. So I get that part of it. But luckily, with the way the sport is structured now, so many of these former Olympic gymnasts, they get to come back and still be part of the college team and experience. So we're gonna see her for a while. But yeah, it is one of those odd years where that she's not got the team she could have, but she still has a very good team. So
all right, last thing, and we'll get you out of here. Andy's question: do you or your interns plan on doing any stories on the world-class swimmers?
We'll do something for sure going into the SEC. They've had some big events lately, and I've always, we've written a lot about the swimmers over the years, so that's probably a good idea to get over there and get a couple of these kids because that's the program. I mean, it's amazing what they've done, especially on the men's side with all those SEC championships in a row. But yeah, we'll have some stuff coming up with them.
For you, this is busier than the fall for you, right? This time of the year.
It is, man. There's so much going on, and also I'm putting out a magazine, and it's like trying to keep up with everything. It can be difficult, but it's what makes Florida unique. It's what makes it fun. You've got these sports that have these premier athletes. So you got somebody like Andy asking about swimming, and I can tell you right now, I've written, meeting Caleb Dressel and writing about him and Lockie and some of these athletes you get to meet. Connor Dwyer. It's pretty cool, man. That's the only way I could say it. These guys are the best at what they do. I mean, Caleb Dressel is every bit of a Tim Tebow in the swimming world. So to be able to document some of what they do and to get to know them a little bit, it's a pleasure when those Olympic years and you're seeing them there on the world stage. That's what makes Florida special. Ben Shelton's another one of those guys. I mean, the tennis player. Is to be able to get to follow him now in his professional career. I think he's going to be the best American tennis hope for the next few years. So it's cool that he went to the University of Florida.
Wait, you said you're putting out a magazine?
We do. We do a magazine called Two Bits. It's a magazine that we do a couple times a year. So it just happens to be it's that time. And guess what? The cover is, Shane. It's the Olympics because you got Anthony Nesty is on the cover previewing him in the Olympics, and you've also got Greg Troy and Mike Holloway who've already done that, so we talked to them too. So it goes to all of our boosters. It gets mailed to about 12,000 of our boosters, and it's
I get that. I get that magazine. I know the one you're talking about now. I thought you were starting something new, Scott.
No, you probably get it and toss to the side. I know, Shane. I get
Oh no, I put it on the
busy
counter.
man.
I read it every now and then. Scott, good stuff as always, my man. I appreciate your time. Enjoy. Who you got in the Super Bowl?
I've got to go for the Chiefs because I'm going to be scarred for the rest of my life on the 49ers because I was a huge Cowboys fan as a boy. And I still remember Dwight Clark's catch. And I think that's one of 2 or 3 times I cried over sports in my life. So I will never root for the 49ers.
That's funny. Scott, appreciate your time, my man. Have a great weekend.
See you guys.
That's Scott Carter joining us on the Titan No More Hotline, courtesy of Duffield Home Improvements. Hope everybody, we had some glitches today. We'll be back ready to roll on Monday, recap the Super Bowl, and hopefully a big win over the Auburn Tigers. Have a great weekend, folks. Take care.